Hello friends, I welcome you again to this channel, Dr. Vipul V. Kapoor. Let's learn. Friends, in our previous video, we discussed John Donne as an outstanding metaphysical poet. Friends, John Donne, who lived during the Elizabethan Age, towards the end of Elizabethan Age, he became the pioneer of the metaphysical school of poetry. And no doubt he is known as the metaphysical poet, but the another important feature of all his poetry that catches the eyes of the lovers of literature is that John Donne's most of his poems are love poems. So in this video today we are going to discuss John Donne as a poet of love. Born in 1572, died in 1631, John Donne has contributed a host of love poems in his lifetime. Some of the most important and popular love poems written by John Donne, as you can see on the screen, are The Flea, Go and Catch a Falling Star, The Good Morrow, A Valediction Forbidding Morning, The Canonization, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Sun Rising, Lover's Infiniteness, The Bait, and so on. These are some of the very popular poems in English literature which are love poems written by John Donne. Friends, when we are discussing John Donne as a love poet, as a poet of love, let's first of all have a look at the important characteristics of his love poetry. The most important characteristic of John Donne's love poetry is the element of originality. Blend of love and scorn is another feature of his poetry. He loves the women, but at the same time he knows how to hate the women, how to scorn the women. In all his love poetry there is a touch of metaphysics. Okay, so metaphysical strain is found in his love poetry. Donne has also established, or he has showed his idea that love is supreme. So supremacy of love is also an important feature of his love poetry. Conjugal love, happy married life. He has written poems on this topic also. Importance of physical love, importance of physics in love when these two lovers are having relations. He has written some of his poems on this topic also. And his attitude towards women. Sometimes he loves the women, sometimes he hates the women. All different variety of attitudes towards women are expressed in all his love poems. Most important thing is that John Donne is an original poet. We have seen some poets, during his lifetime, during the 17th century, that they generally copy the ideas from other previous poets or their predecessors, sometimes from their contemporaries. But John Donne is an original poet. Originality is one of the most important characteristics of all his love poetry. In fact, John Donne is a revolutionary poet who revolted against the existing popular romantic poetry. And he carved a special niche for himself, which was later on known as the niche of metaphysical poetry. First of all, we begin with his blend of love and scorn that we find in his poems. The poet expresses his anger at indifferent manner of his beloved. In one of his poems, he writes, When by thy scorn, O murderess, I am dead. When thy means you, when by your scorn, O murderess, I am dead, and that thou thinkest thee free from all solicitations from me, then shall my ghost come to thy bed. He says, right now you scorn me, you hate me, I will be dead after some time, after some years, but you will not be free from my love, because I will come back to you as a ghost to your bed. This is how he presents. He loves the lady, but he also shows his anger that if you are not supporting me, I will come back to you. I will leave this world and come back to you as a ghost by your side. Another important feature is that all his love poetry are metaphysical by nature. Donne has used hundreds of hyperboles, exaggerations, affectations, conceits, paradoxes are presented, all such things, together come to make his love poetry metaphysical kind of poetry. If you look at these lines, taken from the Love's Growth is a love poem written by John Donne. Here he compares love to the growing circles of water. When you throw a stone into a cool and calm water, the ripples emerge, right? You can see the ripples who grow bigger and bigger and bigger. He compares his love with those ripples. This is called paradox. It's called the use of conceits. Incomparable objects are compared by John Donne. We have taken one example from his poem Love's Growth. I quote, if as in wind, as in water stirred more circles be, produced by one, love such addictions take. He says that my love is growing in this manner, in the same manner when you throw a stone into the water and the circles grow. So his poetry is full of metaphysics. Supremacy of love. John Donne considers love as a permanent thing. He has complete, strong belief in the eternity of love. He believed that love can never change with the passage of time. Rather, it will remain constant forever. He believes that love remains constant for all times. In these lines, which you can see on the screen, he says that love cannot change with the change in the season or climate and time. I quote, love all alike, no season knows nor clime. Clime means climate. Love all alike. Love is everywhere same. No season or no climate, nor hours, nor days or months, which are the rags of time. Time, hours, days, months, climate, season cannot change my love. In fact, these are hours, days and months. They are the rags of time. They cannot harm my love. So this is how John Donne shows his complete faith and confidence in the eternity of love. In his poems, we also find conjugal love, happy love, or happy married life. He tells us about the joys and bliss of conjugal love in his poem Valediction Forbidding Mourning and A Valediction of Weeping. In both these poems, we find his idea of conjugal love. He is of the view that conjugal love is more rewarding and meaningful. It does not mind physical separation and consequent absence of eyes, lips, and hands. He writes, but we by a love so much refined that ourselves know not what it is, enter assured of the mind, careless eyes, lips, and hands to miss. He says, even we are separated, even one of us dies, our lips, eyes, and hands may not survive, but the happiness, the bliss of love survives forever. In his another poem, The Anniversary, he wrote this poem on his second anniversary of his marriage. It gives us a fine picture of domestic bliss, a happy married life. Married love knows no change or decay according to him. According to him, married love is immortal and must continue even in the grave after death. He writes, I quote, all other things to their distractions draw, all other things to their distraction draw, only our love hath no decay. He says that our love knows no death. Our love can never decay. It can never come to the end. This no tomorrow has no yesterday. Our love had no yesterday and will have no tomorrow. So our love, according to John Donne, love is beyond time. This is metaphysics. This is metaphysics. He says that love has no bondages of time. It has no yesterday. It has no tomorrow. Another important feature to note in his love poetry is his attitude towards women. In some of his poems, he praises the beauty of the women. In some other of his poems, we find that he hates the women. He is totally indifferent towards women. Sometimes loves and sometimes he hates. Sometimes he has faith in women. Sometimes he loses his faith from the women. In many of his poems, he dwells upon the fickleness and disloyalty of women. He talks about the disloyalty which is found in women. If you remember, in one of my previous videos, I had given you the example of the poem Go and Catch a Falling Star. In this poem, again I am taking the same example, Go and Catch a Falling Star. He tells the readers that you ride 10,000 days and nights. You travel all throughout the world, ride 10,000 days and nights, till age grow white hair on thee, means till you become an old man. You keep on traveling all throughout the world. Thou when thou returns will tell me, when you come back after your long journey all through your life, all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. He says that you travel all throughout the world for 10,000 days and nights, and you will become old, and when you come back to me, you will swear. आप कसम खाओगे कि पूरी दुनिया घूम ली हमने, लेकिन कहीं पर एक सुंदर और फेथफुल लेडी मुझे देखने को नहीं मिली. This is how John Donne shows his wants to present the element of disloyalty among the women. He believes that there is no woman who is both fair and faithful. Not only this, in some of his poems we also find the importance of physical love in the relationship. John Donne approves of physical love. Many of his poems show a unique blend of physical love and platonic love. He says that physical love is very important for the consummation of love. If one wants to reach the height of love, he says physical love is very important. In his poem, To His Mistress Going to Bed, this is the title of his poem, To His Mistress Going to Bed, he asks her beloved to allow him to play with her body. I quote, license my roving hands. License means allow. Please allow. Allow my roving hands and let them go before, behind, between, above and below, to teach thee I am naked first. Why then, what needest thou have more covering than a man? So, he tries to convince his lady not to feel shy, and tries to convince him, tries to request her to allow him to have some physical relationship with the lady. So this is how this feature is also found in his poetry. All in all, we can say a variety of moods, variety of strains of love are presented by John Donne in all his love poems. So friends, here we come to the end of this presentation. If you really liked this video, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.